Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my stepdaughter's college? My 48 male stepdaughter Hannah, 18 female, is going to attend college. I know her for around 4 years since I married her mother. The issue, though, is that we've never gotten along well. I have tried, but she always says that she doesn't like me and wants her real dad. When I try to tell her stuff or scold her for behaving out of order, she'd say, "You are not my father, you're just some stranger." My wife family asked her to behave properly as well, but she doesn't care to listen, and in the end, she stopped telling her as well. I had to pick Hannah up at school once, and when a couple of people who did not know I was her stepdad asked her who I was, she said, "Oh, he's a servant actually," in front of my face. I was extremely mad at that, and it even resulted in a huge argument, although she played it off as a joke. But this was the last straw, and that happened a good few months back. After that, I have always treated her as if she's invisible, and barely had any interactions with her unless absolutely necessary. Well, she talked to me presently and said she's got to apply to college and wants me to pay her fees now. I refused and asked her to ask her real dad, who refused to pay for it himself. She began to protest and said I'm affecting her education and that I cannot do that. But I did not relent and said she's not my business now. My wife says refusing to pay is wrong and that I overreacted even though she's not been nice to me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Tell her you can't afford it on your servant's wages. Seriously, her 2 birth parents have had 18 years to save up for college education. You have had 4 years of putting up with her rudeness, with no backup or support from your wife, her mother, and she has the temerity to speak to you now that she wants your money? Now she can have 4 years of missing out on her dream college, and think over how treating someone as less than human isn't a good life strategy. I feel the "don't bite the hand that feeds you" is kind of fitting in this case. It's plain stupidity to be rude for 4 years and then suddenly expect someone will happily throw money at you. Right? And act like it's a joke. She wasn't even the bare minimum of civil to him. The ATM should be closed. Even worse is there are people here saying that he should have sucked it up, and on top of that saying the servant comment wasn't that bad. Not the a-hole. She's going to refuse to accept you as her parent and degrade and disrespected you 24/7, including in front of other people. Yet, she wants one of the biggest benefits of you technically being her parent. She's clearly being selfish and manipulative, and I'm not surprised her mother is defending her, given how her daughter acts. In the end, it's your money and you're entitled to spend it however you please. And I would also beg of you to not pay squat regarding her college. Like I said, she refuses to treat you like her parent, but at the same time expects all the benefits of you being her parent. Nope. It looks like Hannah finally learned a good adult lesson about consequences. At 18, she is not owed money by anyone, and if you ruin a relationship, then you risk not being helped in times of need. It must have felt good to tell that brat she should fix her own education. Where was your wife in the last 4 years? And why is she not backing you up here? Why did she not save money for her daughter's future? She has known for the last 18 years this was likely coming. Not the a-hole, and your wife and stepdaughter are a-holes. The wife is definitely a huge a-hole in my opinion. She's ignoring the husband, OP, and the daughter's emotional needs. It sounds like her daughter should have been in therapy ages ago, before this whole thing escalated to the point where OP avoids the stepdaughter altogether. That's not a healthy environment at all, and I would be so uncomfortable if I was living with them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's kids, 24 female and 22 male, that my house isn't their family home and it's not my fault their mom lost theirs? I married my husband 2 years ago. He has 2 kids, 24 female and 22 male. He had a very nasty divorce from their mom that was fought out over the course of years. Part of the reason for the marriage ending was she had a drug problem and blew through their savings and was running up credit cards he didn't know about to pay for it. The divorce finalized when the youngest was 16. She wanted the house and the divorce, which was a big part of the fight, and she ended up getting it. She immediately moved in her addict's boyfriend and another couple they used with, and the house ended up getting destroyed and falling into foreclosure, and they then proceeded to squat in it and had to be forcibly removed. Because my husband and his ex ended up also having to file bankruptcy, he had been living in a friend's basement when I met him, due to his credit being wrecked. Fast forward, we are married, he moves into my house, got a prenup, and he can't be on a mortgage due to his credit anyways. His ex and kids are living with grandparents. His kids and ex don't like me. They refer to me as that C-word. But at this point, they're all adults, so I'm not going to force things with them. Grandparents recently had to sell their home and they're now living with their mom's friends. They asked if they could move in with us, and I said no. Both got angry and started telling me that this was their dad's home. and that makes this their family home too. And it wasn't up to me if they could live there or not. They started spouting off every insult they could think of. I interrupted them and told them it, in fact, was not their family home. And if they were looking for their family home, they need to go talk to their mom, because she chopped it up and put it up her nose. And that wasn't my problem. A huge part of the reason I don't want them here is that their mom has since squatted multiple places, forcing roommates to have to threaten her with eviction to get her out, and basically told the last one she would leave for a certain amount of money. The kids and her are very close, and I don't want that happening in my house. We also have reason to believe the oldest may be using. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole for keeping your solely owned home for yourself. But I do question what agreements you had with the dad of the kids before the two of you got married. Yes, they're adults, but only as of recently. It seems like you and their dad have it firmly defined and aligned on your role in their lives before marrying, which makes me lean toward everyone sucks here. We got married when the youngest was 20. They said they didn't want to be involved with me. I respected that. So amazing that they feel entitled to move in, when they have stated previously that they want nothing to do with you, and referred to you as that C word. Do they imagine moving in and having you fawn and slave away over them, all while they maintain their current attitudes and disrespect? Not the a-hole. And where is your husband in all this? They shouldn't even be talking to you. He should be the one setting them straight, and let them know it is actually your house. Don't understand why you marry a guy with this background and also have credit issues. Sounds like a recipe for drama. My marriage with him is fine. He contributes and has a job and makes his own money, and we have no drama aside from this, since he tends to spend his time with the kids away from the house, their choice. His spending habits are responsible, and their financial issues being caused by her tracks with everything I've seen. Your husband should be on your side, is he? He is. Not the a-hole, but I would have your husband deal with his adult children. They should not be referring to you that way, and they especially should not be claiming your home as their family home with their adults. Sounds like they have some growing up to do. Sounds like they need jobs and to find their own place to live. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she was naive when she thought her daughter would suddenly see her stepdaughter as a true sister when they didn't get along before? My sister has an 18-year-old daughter, Casey. It was just the two of them for 10 years. Casey never knew her dad, which means my sister had sole custody of her. When she was little, Casey used to talk a lot about how there were these mean girls in school. One of them, Valerie, Casey disliked more than the others. She was the worst. My sister did her fair share of complaining about the dad too, especially when she had to replace and erase her a couple of weeks into school starting because Valerie broke it. When Casey was 9, my sister and Valerie's dad started to spend time together, and then they got married a year later. There was a lot of shock on my part, seeing as my sister knew how Casey felt about Valerie, and given her own complaints about Valerie's dad allowing her to get away with so much. But he's an attractive guy, and I guess that won out over everything else. The announcement to Casey went about as well as can be expected. She was furious at her mom. More so on her wedding day, because my sister wanted the girls to match and look like sisters for the first time. Valerie used the wedding to taunt some of Casey's friends, saying she was going to replace them with her. It only added fuel to an already bright fire. Casey ultimately refused to take part in the wedding on the day and sat with me. Things in their household were tense for years afterward. My sister would get upset that Casey was so mad about it, that she didn't change her opinion of Valerie at all, and that she would very strongly deny that they were sisters. About 2 years after she got married, my sister decided they all needed family therapy. It was only the last 2 years that Valerie appears to have grown, and from the outside it does not look like she's the bully she once was. But Casey still cares nothing for her. Both girls graduated in May, and Casey moved out and in with me, wanting to get away from Valerie. The other day, my sister and I met up for lunch, and she was venting about Casey not talking to Valerie at all, and how Valerie had wanted them to meet up every day after classes started, but Casey didn't even answer her. They go to different colleges, but both are local. She said she thought after all these years, Casey would see Valerie as a true sister, and even if she didn't like her, there would be some sense of family loyalty there. I was shocked to hear my sister say that. She noticed and asked me why I looked like a fish. I told her I had never expected her to be so naive to think Casey would feel that way when she hated Valerie long before she, my sister, met her husband. My sister's attitude changed very fast, and she told me that I'm the naive little brother to think these things don't change when family bonds are created. I told her that family bonds aren't created that easily when there is already bad blood present, no matter how much she might want them to be there. She told me I owe her an apology, and she'll be waiting for it. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister chose her partner over her daughter, bringing her bully into her home and trying to force them to play nice. Her daughter will never forgive, forget, or get over that. Well done for supporting your niece. Always. She's always going to have a place with my family. Honestly, we love having her live with us. Thank goodness the daughter has some sane family members. I can't imagine forcing a child to be in the same room as her bully. Not the a-hole. Your sister is delusional to think family bonds were created between two adolescent enemies, one of whom was actively bullying the other just because their parents got married. This isn't a Disney special. It's always crazy to me to encounter people who have this highly idealized vision in their head and the way they will absolutely demolish their relationships thinking the ideal will be realized. Your sister let her daughter down. This might have been salvageable if Casey's dislike of Valerie had been taken into account from early on. Your sister and her husband did not give it enough time or attention. I feel really sad for Casey, but honestly it sounds like she's doing alright. She isn't obligated to have a loving, warm relationship with Valerie. I can't imagine how this will play out moving forward, aside from poor Casey being essentially estranged from the whole lot. But you are not a-hole for trying to draw your sister's attention to her delusion. She'll always have my family and me. I've promised Casey that. Our family has always been small. It was just my sister and me for years. Then she came along, then I got married and had my kids. But I will never turn my back on her or let her down. Not the a-hole. What you said was long overdue. She betrayed her daughter in a grotesque, selfish, cruel, and unforgivable way. I'm the naive little brother to think these things don't change when family bonds are created. Of course she has it totally the wrong way around. She's the naive older sister if she thinks these things do change, and that family bonds are automatically created just because the two parents got it on. Casey is gone from her mother's life and is not ever coming back. By the way, from the outside it does not look like she's the bully she once was. Smart observation there by you. She's got better at hiding it, more subtle in her tortures. At this point, Valerie doesn't have to bully Casey. She won. Her dad married Casey's mom and together the two adults choose Valerie. Casey was dismissed from the start. She only needs to pretend to act sisterly and friendly, then complain to Casey's mom that she is trying, but Casey just rejects her. Then mom finishes the job by getting on Casey's back about not having any family loyalty. I'm glad OP is in her life, and hope she gets away from her awful mother and stepsister. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take care of my stepdaughter? My 28 female live-in boyfriend, 32 male, has a daughter 11 female with his ex 30 female. I'll call her my stepdaughter even though I'm not legally married to her father, because for all purposes we live together. She lives with her mother during the week and spends the weekend with us. However, her father occasionally has to work on Saturdays and I take care of her by myself. Last weekend, she got her first period while she was out with me, so I helped her and explained how things worked and so on. I later found out her mother was livid because she called my boyfriend and gave him an earful that I didn't immediately call her because she would pick her daughter up. Because as the mother, she was the one that had to be with her daughter during her first period, and I took this away from her. What bothered me the most is that my boyfriend did defend me, which she says was because he didn't want to start an argument and make an already difficult relationship with his ex even trickier. So I told him I won't take care of their daughter by myself anymore if I'm to get blamed for whatever decision I make while I'm with her. And if he has to work on a Saturday, then he should get her only on Sunday or change the visitation arrangement. Am I the a-hole here? Stepdaughter was fortunate to have a caring adult around who could help her through a stressful experience. Nice that you could be there for her. That said, if your boyfriend isn't going to bat for you against his ex's weird demands, you're in for a world of hurt for every other first that stepdaughter experiences while she's alone with you. If the only way your boyfriend understands this is because he feels the pain of his inaction, so be it. Not the a-hole to hold him accountable. Or maybe he told that his current housing situation might change if he keeps throwing his landlord under the bus. Oh man, not the a-hole. Hard situation. He should have defended you. Mom shouldn't have blamed you. If this was something she was concerned about, she should have asked him about it in advance. This just isn't cool. If he's not going to defend you, then how are you supposed to be supportive in this situation? Just not cool for you. Imagine how the daughter would have felt if you would have called her mom about it. Like, that could have come off embarrassing and like a big deal was being made. Sounds like you did the right thing. Not the a-hole. You were not respected despite your commitment to these relationships. He could have said, "We are not mind readers. We did not disrespect you. We had no idea the role you wanted to play. Please be proactive in stating your preferences in the future." Notice the we. He does not present you as a united front to her or others, but when it is convenient, he'll accept your dedication to his daughter. This is BS. She took this away from herself. Mom created this outcome. She never conveyed her preferences for her daughter's first period. This is completely on her, then had a huge reactive behavior after the fact. If this or another event is important, either parent needs to state this verbally and in writing to the other. Refusing to care for your stepdaughter by making dad present on his days is fine. However, continue to support and cultivate the relationship you and her already have. The child should not be aware of your request and his need to change schedules. Kids have no control of their parents' obligations. They simply want to be loved, accepted, and not the source of relationship friction in either home. Best to you.